Hi, I'm David Siegel. I'm Chief of the Myeloma Division at the John Theurer Cancer Center in Hackensack, New Jersey, and I'm going to talk to you for a couple minutes about the MM014 clinical trial. So the MM014 clinical trial is a study directed at answering the question about whether you have to switch classes of drugs in myeloma. This is one of the sort of resounding clinical themes that we have, that when patients become refractory to lenalidomide, is it reasonable to then use pomalidomide immediately thereafter? When patients are refractory to Velcade, can you move on to carfilzomib? And these are not necessarily intellectually very powerful questions, but practically they're very important, because the overwhelming instinct in certainly community oncologists, and I think to a large extent even for those of us who call ourselves myeloma specialists, is that you can't go from Revlimid to pomalidomide. It just isn't going to work. And what this study looked at was two cohorts. The first cohort was patients progressing on a lenalidomide-containing regimen and then moving on to pomalidomide and dexamethasone. And what this study showed is that there is no drop-off in efficacy and response to, or the durability of response to pomalidomide when patients are receiving lenalidomide in the immediate preceding line of therapy. And this was not an obvious answer. The idea about why we can see repeated response, many of us explained by these clonal tides, and that populations that are resistant and sensitive can grow out or not. Well, this shows that it's not about that. That the response to pomalidomide is preserved even in patients who are immediately resistant to lenalidomide. Well, today everything has started to revolve around daratumumab. This ASH meeting for myeloma has been part of a big coming out party for daratumumab, and so one of the most effective, if not the most effective triplet that we have, is the combination of daratumumab, pomalidomide, and dexamethasone. And so the question is that triplet compromised by prior resistance to lenalidomide? And once again, the answer is no. In fact, the response rates seen in this study are the highest response rates to that triplet that we've seen. The durability of response seems to be uncompromised as well, although it's so long that we haven't even approached a median yet. So again, the lesson is that we can go from lenalidomide to a pomalidomide, this time pomalidomide daratumumab containing regimen, without any compromise in outcome. And I think that's a very important point in just terms of the practical management of patients relapsing with multiple myeloma. But it also brings us to a very, very important biological question, which is, why is that true? It shouldn't be true. We all seem to feel that the mechanism of action to the two drugs is extremely similar, and why is it that resistance to lenalidomide has more of an impact on response to drugs from other classes than it does to a drug that is chemically almost identical? If you looked at the structure of lenalidomide and pomalidomide, average person wouldn't see the difference. So I think it brings us to a very important biological question as well. So that's what I'm here to talk to you about.